It's Tuesday. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to the program. We have the boss man with us tonight. How are you doing, Andre?
I'm doing excellent. Greetings, everyone. I can't stay too long, but I'm here at least for a little while.
Yeah, so we're going to quickly run through the intros so we can get to the first topic since we only have you for a short period of time. Six is here as well. Greetings. How are you doing?
Greetings. Doing very well. Excited to have Andre here.
Yes, indeed. And we also have with us CC Karaoke hanging in there from Canada.
Doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Coming down the pike. We also have Clobber in Times with us. How you doing?
Oh, doing great, sir. Great to be here with all of you. And hello there, chat.
Saw you were solo streaming last night. I almost said something in the chat, but I'm like, he's been on for like 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, Monday nights I often do, yeah.
I was like, if I say something.
Yeah, no, but hey, pop in it whenever you feel like it. But
no, I didn't want to stir up anything, so I was just listening in the background.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah.
I do.
But we're glad to have you here, and we will have, I think, Nick and a few others joining us shortly. But we wanted to get rolling since H was so nice to tell you guys to head on over here. So everybody who's joining us from Mr. H's chat for the first time, cool. Thank you for joining us. Everybody else who's a regular, thank you for coming back. And with that, we're actually going to jump right into our first story because we have Andre here, as I said, for a short period of time. And the news that took the world by storm today, or should I say, distracted you from the Shabade Onoi news. And that is that Star Wars has announced a new movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, from director Jon Favreau. So yeah, it's Price of Reason joining us as well. How you doing, Price? I think he's muted.
Am I muted now?
Nope, we're here. Yeah. Okay, welcome.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, we're just getting started here because we only got Andre for a few minutes. So we wanted to catch his, because you just dropped a video on this not too long ago, Andre. So go ahead and take us through the really short announcement that we got today.
Yeah, out of the blue, all of a sudden, we just got an announcement. It wasn't much of an announcement. Like right here, we see the Variety write-up. But really, it was sort of a press release published on StarWars.com, where we are just very brief words told that Jon Favreau will be writing and producing a Star Wars movie centered around the Mandalorian and Grogu, presumably concluding their storyline, and quite possibly this is the replacement of the Mandalorian Season 4. We don't know. This is not yet confirmed, but he's very excited to do it. Kathleen Kennedy is excited for him to do it, and they also confirmed that other Star Wars movies in development are, of course, the Rey movie from the activist director who hates men and loves the WEF, and the Dave Filoni Thrawn movie, as well as James Mangold's Distant Past movie, so that Kathleen Kennedy can reframe the past, present, and future of Star Wars still. Oh, and Favreau's Mandalorian.
I noticed there's a few things that weren't here, though, and that was Taika Waititi's for one.
That is very interesting because I do think that this is probably the complete list of upcoming Star Wars movies. So everything that's not here ain't happening. That's what I'm thinking, including Taika Waititi.
Yeah. So, Andre, before we lose you here, what do you think is going on here? Because up to this point, Jon Favreau has been pretty AWOL from the last season of Mandalorian. For the most part, his character got killed off. It's all been Dave Filoni this and Dave Filoni that. Dave, as we've also pointed out in our video again today. So what do you think? I think your video today, and again, this is just your theory, but go ahead and present your theory because I think it's probably correct.
My theory, or rather my speculation, and I stress that it's speculation. I have no source saying this. I have nothing. This is just me reading the tea leaves. But based on reading those tea leaves, I think that this is something that Bob Iger has initiated. I think that this suggests that Bob Iger has lost faith in Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni's ability to fix Star Wars again. But he knows that Jon Favreau can do it. So he has Jon Favreau to come in and create some excitement. What he hopes is going to be excitement to do something to end this horrible Rey and Obi-Wan news cycle. And as Mr. H pointed out, for those that came from there, he pointed out a very astute observation, namely that there's soon another Disney earnings call, and they don't want to go into that with just negative hype surrounding a Star Wars project. If they can get some positive news with Jon Favreau prior to that earnings call, that would be really good timing for Bob Iger. So I think this is a Bob Iger initiative.
And I want to expand on your theory a little bit and then throw it to the rest of the cast here, because I agree with you. And I think, actually, thinking back on it now, I'm starting to wonder if Filoni wasn't one of his dictations too, but he's realized this is a mistake because of the reaction that they've had to both Mandalorian season 3, Ahsoka, and now this. Or not this, but the Obey Chinoy Rey thing. And so I think this, as you were pointing out, is a big distraction on that part, but also a desperate move by begging Favreau to come back into this mix after he kind of pretty much put his stamp on it and said, I'm done because you guys have screwed up my plans. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but then I want to throw it to everybody else. Yeah.
Let's hear from everybody else.
Yeah. I wonder if he had faith in Filoni at first and now he's lost faith, but yeah. Six, let's start with you since you're probably the biggest Star Wars fan here.
Yeah. Real Star Wars, not Disney Star Wars. It almost means nothing to me seeing this headline. I'll believe it when I'm sitting in the theater with a box of curly fries in my lap and the opening credits are going. I don't care about this. The timing of the announcement, is this to try to deflect some of the bad press that's been going on about, I don't want to screw up her name because I don't want anybody to think I'm making fun of her. Obeyed Shanae. Is that her last name? Shinoy.
Just remember that the final word rhymes with annoy.
No, that's why I'm calling her Obeyed Annoy.
But how much homework are people going to have to do in order to be caught up to see this movie? I'm blown away that they're heading to the theater. I think that we're going to see a Rey movie before we see a Mandalorian movie in a theater.
It's interesting you say that, Six, because before we pass this along, the way it's kind of stated in this statement, it almost sounds like this movie's coming first. Because let me read this bottom part to you guys real quick. It says the Mandalorian and Grogu will lead Lucasfilm's ongoing feature development slate, including films helmed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, James Mangold, and Dave Filoni, who is currently developing Ahsoka Season 2, among those in the works. So the way I'm reading this, and I could be wrong, but my interpretation is this, is we're getting Mando and Grogu first.
What I mean when I say that is I can't believe that they're gonna.
And I agree with you because I think it's gonna have the Doctor Strange effect. And not only that, I think the reason this might be getting ready to go first is because I think this is de facto season 3 of Mandalorian. I think you're also right about that, Andre.
4.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Isn't that what I said? Season 4? But yeah. So 6, any final thoughts on that? And then we'll go ahead to CC.
No, I don't care.
Yeah. I feel your pain. CC, what do you think about this?
Yeah, one dependable behavior you can count on from people is that they will abandon a sinking ship to join the winning side. Whoever they view to be the winner in a war or the successful person, they want to be on that side of the battle, right? That includes both the people that were always close friends and loyal to the winning side, but also the vast majority of us who we're the Homer Simpson wearing that jersey and backing into the hedge when the team goes under, and then we come back out of the hedge wearing a different jersey. And I think, when it comes to Jon Favreau, whether he's at Disney or not, he's not strictly a part of Disney. He's an independent who will be successful. He's a very talented person who will have success for many years in the industry. At least that's my impression.
That's a good observation. Yeah.
And when I've seen this in other companies too, like with John Lasseter, when he left, he brought a lot of talent with him. People who saw that man as being, the guy to follow. They're not loyal to Disney, they're loyal to John Lasseter. And I would have to think that Jon Favreau has a very large group of talent that is loyal to him as well. And probably some very talented people in the middle who, went along with what was going on and probably, were part of Kennedy's team. But whether or not Kathleen Kennedy leaves and how she leaves, and I don't think she's getting fired or anything of that sort. But her ship is sinking. And I think that people can see that. And, the wise talent among Disney working at Lucasfilm would probably say, I'd like to be hired by Jon Favreau in the future. Maybe he's not at Disney at that point, but I'd like to get the call. I'd like to work with him again. And they're probably considering those options. So that's my take.
All right. Clobbering times.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm with 6 on this. I don't care a whole lot anymore because I didn't really care much for that. I disliked that last season of Mandalorian. It's been on 3 years. I just don't see the wisdom. I know Favreau. If you were to let Favreau do just another Star Wars film, maybe. But the fact that it's Mandalorian makes me think this is just a big, a big nothing. Again, and it is the timing of the announcement is amusing to me as well. I think it's already been pointed out that it's like a major distraction or deflection from the horrible press they've been getting the past week. So I don't know, but I do think you're right, Tom, that it'll probably be first if they do make this thing.
Well, I'm just going by what they said in the press release.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, what do you have? They don't have a lot of work to do to set it up.
Well, and I think it's already kind of they already have whatever they were going to use for season 4. That's my other thing is maybe it wasn't enough for an entire season. And they're like, what do we do? And we'll just make a fucking movie. Or it's just all the Grogu and Mando stuff. And then everything else will be taken over by Filoni anyway. And his thing, because that was the original thing. See, this is the thing when they announced all those shows, including Rangers of the Republic and all that business. Remember, it was all supposed to culminate together, right?
Yes.
It's some big, massive event.
Yes.
Well, where's this big, massive event now? Well, it's been co-opted by Filoni into this heir to the Empire or whatever.
Right.
So, and I don't even know if Grogu and Mando factor into that at all, really. So that's where I think Andre's correct too on that. And you're right. And I think this is just whatever little fragments were left over from Favreau's, plan book. Maybe, but
I figure put it in the theater, see if it sticks, because Grogu's popular, and we don't have to do a whole season. And it seems like a mess to me, and if personally.
Yeah, I think 6 is right too on whether or not that's going to translate to the big screen is a good question.
Yeah.
Price?
Well, the second I saw this announcement, and it's while I was working on a video about that Chinoy thing, I automatically thought this has something to do with Iger as well. Because Jon Favreau always seemed to me like he's kind of Iger's guy. Even at the time when Kathleen Kennedy was doing stupid things with the sequel trilogy and Solo, I've always been under the impression, in spite of what they said, that he's the one that brought Jon Favreau in to handle The Mandalorian. And I feel like once again, he's going to his go-to guy. And as far as he's concerned, in my opinion, this is the only movie as far as Iger is concerned, out of all of these, that's going to get made. Maybe the Ahsoka one with Filoni, but I think that, I don't know if Iger thinks that one with Chinoy will ever get made, and I personally don't know if it'll ever get made either, at least not with Kennedy and with Chinoy. I feel like that's one of those Patty Jenkins situations. It's just going to go on for years now with delays and delays and delays until we never hear about it again, like the Lando series, like anything else. And I feel like Iger is really gambling here on Favreau. I would even go a step further and say that Iger, in his heart of hearts, probably would want Favreau to step in here and maybe replace Kennedy once he can get her to leave. I know this all sounds very extravagant, but I actually feel like that's probably what Iger would want. And maybe he somehow wooed Favreau. He told him, listen, man, we're doing it now. Her contract ends at the end of the year. You're going to do this movie. This is going to be our highest priority. That's why they said they're leading with this. And I even think the whole situation with Kennedy and Chinoy, she did it just to annoy him. And not only to annoy him, but to sort of drum up some press and some sympathy that she's a feminist, and she brought another feminist and rally some of those shills and activists around her in the media. But I feel like this is obviously, to me, Iger running some type of interference. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, Andre, what do you think about that? Because that's true. I mean, at the end of the day, the Iger, as we've reported ourselves, has lost confidence in Kathleen before, and that's where he even said the buck stops with me. There has been mistakes made, and stuff like that. And here we are, basically again repeating history. It feels like almost
I'm
because
just gonna
Price
say,
is Right. Bob did bring in Favreau, and that was where Kathleen said, "Okay, fine, but then I want my boy David in there too."
yeah, and I just can't believe that Kathleen Kennedy would ask Jon Favreau to come back, and that his movie would have precedence over everything that she was so proud to announce at Star Wars Celebration last year. I just can't
Yeah.
believe that. This has to be something she's forced to do by someone else, which just goes to show that she has lost power. That the Indiana Jones failure really screwed her up.
Oh, and that's one of the things I think is a big bullet right now, because of all the things that they have done, they spent that much money on that. And unlike The Force Awakens, which they spent similar amount on, Force Awakens brought in $2.5 billion. This didn't. This flopped as bad as Harrison, I almost said Harrison Ford, Solo did, without Harrison Ford in it. So yeah. So I don't know. But I know you have to be leaving us soon, Andre. So is there any more thoughts you had on this before we go?
I wish that Favreau was in charge of everything and they could
Mhm.
cancel everything else, because then there actually might be
Yeah.
hope here. I think that if Favreau was given enough power, he could right this ship. He could still find a way to salvage all of this. It would take time, but he could do it. But what bothers me the most about this is that, yeah, Favreau is back, but he's back in a den of snakes and a pit of vipers. Because if all these other Kennedy projects are still happening, then what's the point in being excited for this? This is just going to round out the Mandalorian storyline, so that all we have to look forward to are all of the other Kathleen Kennedy projects that come after. So I'm not excited for this. The only thing that's going to change my mind if Kathleen Kennedy's projects start not happening.
Yeah. And if Price is correct, then you would see that if this movie actually does hit big,
Yeah.
does well, then I think you're right. I think you'd see some of those other projects start to fall off or disappear as we go along. It'll be like, well, whatever happened to that? Oh yeah, well,
No one would miss them. Like, this is the thing. This is the one thing that there's going to be any level of excitement for. Nothing of any of the other stuff can do that.
and I see it as false hope at the end of the day, because I think you're right. This is a one and done, in and out. And Price is correct on that. Like all the things you were saying, your observations from what we know of reports is correct. Like at this point, he's just basically doing this as work for hire on the side. Like this is nothing, and it probably won't even tie into any of the other shit at all.
Yeah, I was wondering about what his play here is, because Gina's gone and Grogu's back with Mando. All his ideas, all his plans are still ruined in that sense.
Imagine if he could get her back. That would be a powerful thing.
I was
That'd be
thinking
wonderful.
that earlier. I was like, wait, that would be weird. But another thing is, what'd be even funnier is if this movie ends with him just giving him back to Luke. Because that was his original plan.
Or is it as simple as he's just, you know what, I'm going to write the best story I can and try and make a good movie. But then, I can't imagine he would do this without some assurance that he's not going to be, creatively chained down. He's already been stabbed before. He's like,
I would
it's just going to happen again.
But I do have to drop out here. So
All right. Well, thanks, Andre, for being here. And we're going to.
Andre, do you want to give
Andre.
a preview of tomorrow's morning show?
Yeah, we have a special guest coming. We'll be talking some copyright law, and you do not want to miss that. And beyond that, I will leave Tom to tease more and provide more detail as you guys roll out here.
Yeah, we're having Mr. Rogue or Mr. Hogue, sorry, a lawyer to talk about the Mickey Mouse business and stuff like that. So yeah. So he just confirmed. So we will have him tomorrow morning.
Perfect. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right, Andre.
Bye,
Have a
Andre.
good
Good one,
day.
man.
Bye,
Good
Andre.
night. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about quick, and then we'll move on to our second story of the night. Jeremiah Hembry has been a member for 9 months. It's a bubba. Says, is Superman the movie 4K good? Because I just bought it on Amazon. Well, I'm assuming you just bought the single edition and not the box set. And yeah, it's pretty good. Just keep in mind that the 4K edition is only the theatrical cut. But if you bought the single,
I like how he bought it first and then asks you.
wow, there's that too, man. And usually it's pretty cheap, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
It also comes with a disc with the I think it's the extended cut on it.
Cool.
But it's just a regular Blu-ray. But if it is the single edition and not the one that was in the box set, it has the original 5.1 70mm mix on it too. So that's a plus as well. So, yeah, good for you, buddy. Then we got Olaf Van S hanging out in the chat, who's been a member for 28 months. Thank you, Olaf, for being here. And I believe you're also a mod.
Yes.
I had a question for you, Tom.
Sure.
Why does anybody think that movie with James Mangold and Kathleen Kennedy is actually going to happen? You think after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, anybody's going to give him a big budget to work with her on a Star Wars movie? I just can't imagine.
There's only, and I've said this before, I think there's only one theory that I have that says that movie is going to happen. Because I would say that would be that Mangold did Indy as a favor. So whatever happened with that can't be blamed on him, and the Star Wars movie was what he originally wanted and what he got for doing Indy anyway. Because remember, Spielberg was mainly attached to it up until all of a sudden he wasn't, and then Mangold was directing or whatever. So yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You could be right on this, because I can't think of any reason why somebody would look at Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and say, okay, now this guy has got to do a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And I think that James Mangold is actually a legit director, but working with Kathleen Kennedy, that's not a good recipe.
No, and that's the other thing too, is at the same time he got involved is when they changed gears on what the story was supposed to be. And I mean, it's Kathleen Kennedy, and if she can't get Steven Spielberg of all fucking people, I mean, it's like a foregone conclusion. We all thought, like, yeah, Steven Spielberg's going to direct this, right? And he's like, no, I'm done. I am done.
Spielberg can say what he wants, as much as a dumbass as he is. He would not have allowed that story.
No, I guarantee.
He would not have directed
he was
that
not
movie.
happy with whatever they had before that.
No question about it. He might not say it. There's no way he would do that. I don't like him, but he wouldn't do that to Indiana Jones.
No.
Obviously, Harrison Ford would, but he wouldn't.
Sadly. But yeah, we're caught up on member and super chats right now. We didn't have any super chats yet, but we do have a story here that's kind of interesting. And this goes along with some other developing shit. Okay, there's a lot of shit going on right now at Paramount. I'm going to preface before we get into this. CBS just laid off 1,000 people. They just lost their NFL rights to YouTube. And now Tom Cruise just made a deal with Warner Brothers. So I don't know what's all going on. I don't know if the merger is happening or not, because here's the thing. Tom and the Warner deal makes me think maybe there's something going on with the merger, but then the other side of it is if Paramount lost all their NFL rights to YouTube, Warner Brothers, that's what they were going after CBS for in the first place. So that to me tells me, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see that.
So this is heating up here. I wonder what the hell is going on, but yeah, this is the other big news of the day is Tom Cruise signs a deal with Warner Brothers to develop and produce original and franchise films. Tom Cruise has his next mission. And if you remember, he also had just gotten into it with Paramount recently himself over the last Mission Impossible movie.
With the IMAX.
Well, no, like there was something else to do with Paramount directly, not the theater part, but they didn't want to do the second part or something like that. I think it was. And so he threatened to take him to court, or he did take him to court, but they ended up going to arbitration instead. I think it was. If Culture to actually show up for a show, Tom Cruise is like his boy, so he would know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the ageless action star has signed a new deal to develop and produce theatrical films with Warner Brothers Discovery. These movies will be a mix of original productions and franchise fare and will star Tom Cruise, the company said in a release touting the deal. As part of what is being billed as a new strategic partnership, Cruise and his production company will have offices in the Warner Brothers Discovery lot in Burbank. It's a coup for Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdy, who took over as co-chairs and CEOs of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group in 2022, and who have been working to reinvigorate the studio, as well as for David Zaslav, the man who hired them, to deal with Cruise, who has projects at uh, rivals like studios like Universal and Paramount, isn't exact exclusive, nor is it a traditional first look pact. The actor can make movies at other companies, but the hope is that he will be able to generate the kind of globally appealing blockbusters could spawn sequels and enhance Warner Brothers' bottom line. So yeah, I mean, and he's worked with Warner in the past, it goes on to say, and then just the typical fluff. But I just thought this was the timing of this felt weird to me. And speaking of timing, hey Nick.
Nikki.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I don't know how it's up by you, Tom, but it is crazy
Shitty.
snow down here.
Shitty,
It is coming down hard.
Snow. What's that?
But,
That stuff that was in The Empire Strikes Back? I've seen it on TV.
Yeah, we're just
Oh,
talking about
yeah.
Tom Cruise's new deal. So yeah,
Okay.
6. What's your response to this?
Well, does he have some kind of exclusivity deal with them? Is he allowed?
No, it said he can do work with other studios.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wonder if is this what he's going to consider to be the jewel in his crown to end his career? I mean, he could go another 20 years, but
To me, it feels
I
more
can't-
like he's setting up a new home base. That's what
yeah,
I
I can't wait to see what kind of movies he's going to. Is he going to, double down on his crazy Scientology upbringing and lifestyle, and maybe use this to
Now that you
make
mention it.
some movies that are a little bit little more edgier. # weird. I don't know. I think we're going to be seeing some different, quote unquote, different stuff from him coming out of this deal.
Interesting. CC?
You know what? Tom Cruise runs the world, becomes ultimate ruler. I somehow wouldn't be surprised. He's Tom Cruise. I mean, this is completely on brand somehow in my mind for him. I'm here for it. I'm here for the ride. Like, go for it, man. Give us great movies. Just, I don't know.
All right, Clobby.
I can't stand Tom Cruise, so I don't have any interest in
I know you don't.
I wish him all the. No, why even pretend? But I was astonished by the story because I didn't about the NFL and
I was going to say, I'll add one more wrinkle to that.
crazy.
For me, I think this might be signaling some kind of huge change or death over at Paramount, because that's what I was saying to 6. Sounds to me like he's setting up a new home. This man's been at home now at Paramount for 40 years almost.
And this is how you build a bridge. You take small baby steps. If everything looks good and the romance,
And like I said,
really
this is
swift
the
and
same time you
divine.
got CBS laying off 1,000 people. They just lost their NFL deal. They've been talking about merging or being bought out. Skydance, he has an interest in Skydance, and they were one of the people on the table to buy Paramount. So that makes me wonder, is that off the table now? What's going on here?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
I'm really starting to wonder what the fuck's going on. So I wonder, that adds a new wrinkle to it. I know you don't give a shit about Tom Cruise, Clobby, but coming from that angle, what do you think?
Yeah, it does. But again, it's the first I've heard about all this. I'm still blown away by CBS losing the NFL. That's, as Nick would like to say, huge. YouTube, of all people? YouTube.
I know, right? YouTube. My dad's going to be pissed.
They have it because it's the streaming stuff. Again, we don't do sports ball here, but they have a playoff game that's exclusively on Peacock this year. I'm like, why would you do that? So now it's all going to start streaming. I mean, that's a multi-billion-dollar business moving to another multi-billion-dollar platform, I guess. But that's just weird. Not on national television. Wow. I don't know what to say.
Price.
I think this has something to do with some kind of bigger play with Zaslav. Even a while back with The Flash, don't you remember that Tom Cruise suddenly said that he loved the movie? That I don't think he actually loved the movie. I think that David Zaslav was already buddied.
That was BS.
That's a good point, Price.
He was already cozying up to him, and he said, "Hey, Tom, I think that's Zaslav's style. He makes these kind of relationships. He talks with people. That was a favor to Zaslav. So that means that from that point of time, they've already been talking about something, and now he's at Warner Brothers. So I don't think that I don't think this just happened out of the blue. I think that something's been cooking. And even if you say that Paramount lost the NFL and lost all of that stuff, I still think if it's cheaper now to buy, maybe Zaslav will take it over. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I think. I think he's still looking to take it over.
It's funny you bring that up because this line stuck out to me here in this article. It's a coup for Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi. Now that you bring that up, I'm thinking about that. You might be right. This, you know what this could be a result of? Maybe the merger, the merger wasn't going to happen, and he's like, "Fuck you! I'm going to take your best player."
That could be also.
And
that's
he's been
a better
whining
explanation.
and dining and buttering him up all behind. And I think you're right, Price. I think he's been.
He took their Tom Brady. Is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yep. Insert whichever your favorite here. Exactly.
Michael Jordan
reference. Yeah.
I think we've uncovered this. It seems to make sense.
And it's a kind of play that fucking Zaslav would do too.
Yes.
But anyway, Nick, you're just coming to this. So
yes, sir.
Again, the basics are he signed a new deal with Warner Brothers. He's setting up shop there. He can do other movies still other places. Paramount isn't mentioned at all in this. But I just found this ironic that this happens and drops the same day that those other things that Klobby just mentioned as well.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are all hitting on a lot of things. There's a lot of takeaways here. I think Price of Reason absolutely nailed the whole thing with the whole David Zaslav and the Not Flash movie. Even though I still think that was BS, I'll bet if you had to dig through Tom Cruise's mind, he never saw a movie. He was totally paid to say it, but that's neither here nor there. It's clear that there's someone. One of them, or maybe even both of them, is building a bridge towards a possible relationship to see if they can, go to first base with each other. If the romance looks good, they'll go to second base. And, if it becomes, a honeymoon, we all know what the home run is like. And so we'll see how that goes. My big thing here for me personally, I like the keyword original films, because that is something that we need more of. And I hope that he really definitely tries to commit to that, not just the franchise. Because I don't want it to be like one original, then 30 franchisees. We definitely got to get a good amount of originals. I mean, everything starts somewhere. And if we need to have a established name to at least get something new going, I'm fine with that. So I hope that this can bring about some new ideas, and maybe with having some names that will bring in box office numbers will hopefully do that. And I still do believe under the right circumstances, Mr. Cruise can bring in box office numbers.
All right. Anybody else got anything to say on this? No. All right. Wow. There was a not brand new, was it Japanese or Chinese trailer 6 that dropped today for Kong? You put it on your
I think it was Japanese. I don't think it would be Chinese.
I don't know. Either way, it dropped today. It has mostly the same footage as the old one, but there was a couple new shots in it. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Warner Brothers is kind of shitty about that, so I'm not going to show it here. But we do have some Kong news. I was going to say we don't have any super chats, so okay, we're just going to go into the Kong news. We've got an update. Godzilla X Kong moves up release date to theaters to late March. Mickey 17 has been delayed now. Mickey 17 was a sci-fi film, if you're not aware of it. But Warner Brothers and Legendary's Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, its 5th feature film in their MonsterVerse series, has been moved up. So there you go. There's the news. It will now release on March 29th instead of April 12th. So that's like roughly 2 weeks or whatever.
Was it Ghostbusters supposed to come out in March?
Yeah, Ghostbusters got moved too.
Oh, Ghostbusters did get moved too. Oh,
yeah, it got moved up. That's right. So yeah, that's another part of this story.
Oh, okay.
Do you think the Godzilla was moved up part of the momentum from the -1, that the sooner they release it, maybe people are so excited?
Absolutely. So. They're hoping to piggyback off the goodwill of Godzilla -1. The fact that it's still fresh on people's mind that they just saw Godzilla -1. Absolutely. I mean, even though I'm almost 1%, it's gonna be the absolute inferior of the two movies. I don't blame them as far as marketing goes. That's what you want to do to try to get the most amount of eyes on your movie. So it does make sense.
So they're getting this out for Easter weekend.
Oh, and then you mix it in with a holiday, double whammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just Googled it because I know that the date changes every year, but apparently it's the 31st this year.
That's a good point there, CC. Yeah. So okay, so we have a few reasons. See that they really are trying to get this right, and they're, at least as far as the timing of this and when to release it, they, at least someone's definitely paying attention, and that's good. Even though this will be the not as good movie, I appreciate the effort, and I'll see it because, could be big dumb fun, and I don't mind me some big dumb fun.
Well, I wonder. So Ghostbusters. So Godzilla times Kong, or whatever. How do you say? What is it?
X-Kong.
X-Kong.
I don't know what
that is now in Ghostbusters' old release date spot. So, which one moved first?
I'm thinking. Here's my. I think Warner Brothers played chicken with Sony, and Sony lost because they're getting squeezed the fuck. If Frozen Empire is done, they should move it up a month. They're only moving it up a week. They're dumb. It is only going to have 1 week now to play.
Is it done though?
This is going to have no chance up against Godzilla X Kong.
Wait, so Ghostbusters is only 1 week ahead of
wow.
1 week ahead of now. They moved it only 1 week up.
Yeah, Ghostbusters is March 22. Godzilla is March 29.
Those dumbasses.
That's not a good move.
I'd move it to fucking Valentine's weekend right now if I was them. I'd be like, fuck it, let's take it. But don't they have their stupid Madam Web opening that weekend? That's why.
Oh Lord.
Well, that's a good way to make sure Madam Web is even more dead on arrival than it already was to begin with.
Play your odds. That's what I would do if I was Sony. Fuck it.
It's a good way to say, we know this is going to be a bomb, so we might as well just commit to the bit and say, all right, let's bomb huge.
Are they promoting this Ghostbusters movie as a kids movie? Because Kung Fu Panda is opening March 8th. So I could see if they wanted to avoid.
I think it's supposed to be meant as a PG-13 range, so it's kind of a. I'm sure they're trying to avoid Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, because they moved up Godzilla 2 weeks. It was supposed to come out April 12.
They did that on purpose to get it open Easter weekend. That's why they did that.
Yeah.
Both movies are going to take a chunk out of Ghostbusters. I mean, I'd almost just get right out of that area.
Dune is March
calendar
1.
Completely.
Oh shit, that's right. When is Dune?
March 1.
Oh shit.
So they'll have 3 weeks to clean up house.
Sony is going to be in trouble with this one because that's the thing. The last movie was okay, but not everybody liked it.
I just don't really see anything that Ghostbusters would be trying to avoid, unless they're not
the date
ready
for
to drop it
again.
I'm sorry.
March 22nd.
It's now March 22nd.
March 22nd. So basically, Dune has 3 weeks to clean house, which, that actually makes a lot of sense. That gives them enough time to get people to see their movie and not have any other major competition. And then Ghostbusters comes in. Ghostbusters has 1 week to now make a big impact before Godzilla and Kong show up. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I see Ghostbusters drawing a little bit of both there between the big blockbuster Kong crowd and the family animated crowd. It's just going to have a bit of a cross section. And
I don't know. Here's my question: is are kids really into Ghostbusters?
No. But I mean,
that's what I'm afraid of. That's why I think the Kong is going to stomp this thing. Unfortunately,
their parents
might
be taking them to it
be
for nostalgia
purposes. Because, yeah, I mean, there'll be that. I'll bring mine. My kids have seen Ghostbusters. Like when we met up, we went to a family party once, and there was a professional balloon artist there, and we had them make the proton packs. My oldest one, she asked for a proton pack, and the guy who made the balloon art of it was awesome. So she's bragging how she got a proton pack, but not everyone is My Little Minion and can be cool like her and like Ghostbusters too. So I don't know. I'll find out when I take her to see it how many kids there will be, but I know
I don't recall a lot of kids, and because I went to see Ghostbusters Afterlife twice or 3 times, I can't remember now.
Okay.
And both times it was almost all adults. Like the second time, in fact, I took my parents. Right, like that was more of the thing. My kid didn't want to go, but my parents, like that was the whole thing, was dragging them to the movie because I'm like, you're gonna like this because you haven't seen a good movie like this in years. My dad loves Ghostbusters, etc. So
this has a chance if it gets really, really strong word of mouth. It's a Ghostbusters film. If it gets a big, strong, if it pleases the fans and gets big, strong word of mouth, then it will have the rest of that will carry itself and it'll do okay no matter what's out there. That's the problem. It's going to have to be really, really good. Whereas opposed to other movies that aren't a big name like Ghostbusters, can be really, really good and still get stomped.
Yeah, I would have put this out in June.
Yeah.
I would have held this off for June now, is what I would have done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Looking at this calendar here, I'm like, there ain't shit in June that would have competed with this. I would have put this out right in the beginning of June.
It's only nothing else.
We can still do it
against Godzilla and Kong. And the Ghostbusters only has a slight chance because it's Ghostbusters. If it gets a big, big, big boost from excitement, if it generates a lot more excitement than that last one did.
That's just it. And I think you're right, Clobby. And that's why it needs more than one weekend to breathe.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm saying its only chance is to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And
I would figure like Kung Fu Panda is going to get the parents taking their kids, right?
Yeah.
But I don't really want to see Ghostbusters lose that crowd. Whereas Kong might get more of just like people going on their own, teenagers and parties and whatnot, and just general.
The kids are going to go see. The kids are going to want their parents to drag them to Godzilla.
Is that 1 week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 1 week, right?
Yeah, that's all it's got. And that's what I'm worried about, Clobby, because that's where I say you need at least that 2-3 week window for Ghostbusters to be able to play.
Right. It's concerning, no question about it.
Because it needed that for that last film, and that was just on the end of the ass end of COVID and shit opening up. And it just barely managed to think I think it made 170 million. So I mean, this one I was poising it to do at least 3 or 4, but now I might have to take that down because I'm like looking at it going, you flinched, and not only that, you flinched the wrong direction, right? Like you should have flinched way into June, say fuck this noise, we're gonna make this a big summer movie now, give everybody a couple extra weeks to work on the special effects and stuff like that. And because that's what they did with the last movie is they had a whole year where they put it on ice, and the director Jason Reitman went and he refined the movie for a year. And he said just carving that movie down to what it was over that year, he thinks made it that much better than it was originally. So, I mean, sometimes a little extra time to look at something and stand back and go, well, we can do this a little better, or this can go, or we don't need this, or, maybe we can do this a little bit better if we give it a few more weeks to breathe or whatever.
Is Ghostbusters finished? Like, would it really, because it was rushed, obviously. I mean, it came out pretty quickly. Is one of the reasons that they're only moving it up a week instead of saying going to Valentine's Day because it's not finished? I know maybe you probably don't have the answer to that, but
I think it's almost done. Yes. But that's the question, CC. And I think that's the soonest they can get it out now, right? Like
that's
they might
a little bit troubling.
Yeah, and that's to me, and you're right, because this one was rushed compared to the last one. This was extremely rushed. They rushed this one right into production after the last one was done, or last one came out, not done. So, like, I mean, maybe they had this written for a little while, but I think if they'd have had a little time to just take an extra couple months to look at it, it would be beneficial for the film. Plus, there's nothing coming out in June that I think could compete with it on a level. But it's Ghostbusters. I mean, unless there's some big June movie that they're moving around that we don't know about yet. But 6, you're right. See, they know about this stuff in the industry usually before it gets out in the press. And they'll hear, oh, okay, so Warner Brothers is moving this up to this date. Well, we're going to move our movie then. And then, so that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I think they made a mistake here. But the only chance it's got is it's going to have to get some major love and be really, really good.
Yeah, and that's gonna be tough. Even if Godzilla versus X Kong is I guess you could say serviceable.
Yeah, that would have to be
Until the
panned
fact
pretty
that
bad.
it's competition a week now. It's a week later.
Yeah.
That movie doesn't have to be good. The kids, it's kid proof.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, and
Right.
trust me, that
I already.
movie's
I
being
don't know if
made.
you were here for the breakdown of the whole thing. It's like I already know how the movie's gonna go. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
6
Oh,
sent
we
us
all
this
know.
story here. Actually, I want to grab the super chat first. Sorry about that, Nikki D. Sends in $5. Says theoretically, if the rumored Skydance deal still goes through, could Cruise simultaneously have control over Paramount IPs and work with WB? Yes, but I don't know how much he is as far as a part of Skydance. I just know he's one of the investors. I believe. I know there's other people involved with Skydance. But yeah, as far as like that was one of the reasons why Skydance made sense when they were brought into the fold in the first place as a possible buyers for Paramount, because they've worked with Paramount quite a bit. They also produce Skydance also produced like the Star Trek movies for JJ and stuff like that. So yeah, that I guess would answer that question. And thank you for the super chat, Nikki D. Then we got a new story here from Six, who sent it over. David Bruckner to write and direct the Blob reimagining over at Warner Brothers Discovery exclusive. Oh, so it's been a while since we had a Blob movie. Speaking of Sony,
Why do we need
the
a
last
Blob
time we
movie?
had a Blob movie was before Sony owned Columbia Pictures.
Okay, who ordered a Blob movie?
Yeah.
Which one of you clowns? Come on, fess up.
We already got
needed a
one
Blob
remake
movie.
that was decent, so I don't know if you should tempt fate again, really.
I feel
never
like I
liked
haven't
that
seen a Blob movie since I was a child.
I never liked that remake too much, Tom. From 80,
Oh, you didn't like
88.
it?
Yeah, you like
I
the
like
Kevin
it.
Dillon?
I like it.
I don't know. I'm kind of a sucker for. I'm a sucker for the Steve McQueen. I like the Steve
I like
McQueen
the
one.
Steve McQueen one, all right, but
The
the
Son of
Blob
Blob
remake,
is cheesy funny, but yeah,
yeah, the Son of Blob is dumb, but
Larry Hagman.
yeah, Larry Hagman and fucking that opening scene feels like a porno and shit. Like what the hell?
Yeah, I know most people like that remake. I went to see it and I was like, yeah, I'll stick with Steve McQueen.
To me, it felt like one of those remakes that falls in line with
Johnny
like
Drama.
The Thing or The
Yeah.
Fly.
Oh no, man, it's not in the class with The Thing or The Fly.
To me, they are, and many other fans they are. I bet you
Oh,
if we
really?
did a poll in the chat, they would agree with me.
Those are exceptions to my remake rule because I hate remakes, especially.
Well, and
The
I
Thing.
feel like that one falls into that category,
Wow.
in my opinion, and a lot of other people do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, I've heard that. Literally, I have. Yeah, I've heard that. Well, not that extreme, but I've heard most people like it, but me. So there you go. Fair enough. But why do we need another one?
But David Goyer, oh, there's a real
Goyer?
right on to that.
Oh,
And
man,
Keith
that's a
Levine
red
of Phantom
flag.
4 are attached to produce, and Judith Harris serving executive producer.
You know, and here he's going to find a way for us to dislike the Blob even more than we're supposed to.
So Hellraiser and Night House filmmaker. So this is the guy who made the recent Hellraiser film. David Bruckner is attached to write and direct the Blob reimagining for Warner Brothers Pictures Group. The Wrap has exclusively learned Bruckner's film will be the third time the film will be remade. The original movie was released in 1958 and starred Steve McQueen. The first leading role, Larry Hagman remake. Is the Beware the Blob really a remake though? Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. It's the same fucking story, really.
Yeah.
If you watch it, because I watched them back
You
to
mean
back.
Son of Blob or Beware the Blob?
Well, it's the same movie.
Yeah, it's the same damn movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It
it's
depends
kind
on
of a remake. You're right.
It is because all the same story beats are there.
To be fair, there's nothing to do with that story, but no matter every time you do it, it's going to be a remake because it's the same damn thing. In a sense,
pretty much.
It's just a blob of crap that lands always in a small town and blobs people until they put antifreeze all over it.
And then it just gets into the remake and the original plot here. So I don't think there's much else on this here. David Goyer, just the typical bullshit. David Goyer involved has me very I'm with you.
Look, in the garbage.
We don't need one.
Yeah,
I love the original. My sister always forced me to watch it every time it was on TV. It was like the Blob of all movies. I do not want to see a CGI Blob.
Like McQueen was like,
just make it low budget practical effects. You know?
Well, and that's why I still like the 88 one is because they actually used practical effects and it's more of they actually leaned into the actual R-rated horror of it. But yeah,
I only saw it once at the theater, so I don't know. Maybe I'll like it again.
I don't know if you would or not. It is more of a horror kind of film, but to me, it felt like it was in line with The Thing and The Fly. So like, This though, I don't think it's necessary. I think this is going to be more like speaking of The Thing, it's going to be more like that Thing prequel reboot thing we had.
Yeah.
I never even watched that.
Go ahead,
I
buddy.
didn't either.
No, I'm wondering, was that even any good? The Thing reboot? I just think The
No.
Thing is The Thing. Why would I watch that reboot thing?
Exactly. Your instincts are correct, sir. What do they do though? Seriously, Tom, do they sit around and in a room sometimes? Okay, what are you guys doing today? We don't really have much going on. Okay, bring out the remake box. They got a box with names of old movies, right? All right.
10 years ago, I would have said
Everyone
no.
pull one out.
But now, yes.
They draw it like from the hat.
Guys who go in and try to pitch something original and new, they just get ignored. But if you walk in and say, all right, I want to remake this, or I want to do this with this franchise, then they'll listen to you because it's some IP, right? That's what everything is IP driven.
Yeah. But it's the Blob. I mean, it's the Blob. We remember it because we're geeks and we like movies and stuff like that. Most people, if you mention the Blob, will go, Steve McQueen thing, or they might remember the remake, or but they don't think about The Thing. They don't think about Halloween. They don't think about any of these big IPs. It's so tiny. It's like it may as well not even be an IP. It can't even be called one, really. It's like the Blob. That's what I'm saying. Someone just said no one thinks about the Blob anymore. Let's do that. Nope, there you go. You win. Take that one. Could have been anything. They drew it all out of a hat. The Blob. Yeah, that's only been done like 3 times. So that's cool. We'll do this.
It's well enough known. That's my point, right? Like it's
just enough. I mean,
just enough.
Yeah.
Bryce or Nick or anybody else got anything to say about the 6?
Why can't we just take from Tom Cruise's example and try to actually make something original?
When did he do that?
Yeah, wow. I was gonna say, other than his Mission Impossible and War of the Worlds.
That's not original.
That was
the
my
Mummy.
joke.
The Mummy
that was
didn't
my
work.
joke. The Mummy.
When has Tom Cruise ever done anything original, whether you like him or not?
I'm talking about
Not
his
since
new
the
deal
90s.
that got assigned for making new and franchise stuff. That he's going to be involved with new stuff. Why can't we paint that direction forward as well? That's what I'm getting at.
I'm sure that that sequel for A Day After Tomorrow,
we've
or
seen
whatever
the
it
Blob.
holds.
We've already got a remake of it. Now we're remaking the remake, and soon this is like when we see like the reaction videos, someone reacting to a video, and then you see someone reacting to the reaction of the video. That's how silly this is getting. We don't need the Blob remake of the remake. It's like when they rebooted the reboot of Friday the 13th.
Or you mean Halloween?
Or that too.
How many reboots has that had right now?
I say Halloween's the one that has all the reboots. Friday the 13th has only had one. So.
They couldn't at least they could have been honest when
Only
they
one.
put out Halloween Ends and put Halloween Ends ... for now. But no, they had to act like it actually mattered. We all knew it didn't matter.
They made sure that Michael Myers is dead for good this time. At least there's no way you can bring him back.
Any bets on the budget for this thing? Because I mean, even if I'm being
Blob?
not
Goyer
joking
involved?
about this, even if I'm trying to be serious, I'm thinking at least 70 million, which is stupid.
David
It's
Bruckner.
the Blob.
I bet Bruckner said, "Like, do I have to do this really good?" Yeah, you drew the you drew the short plank, pal. It's your turn.
This is actually a move up for him, especially if this is theatrical. So
the Blob guys, really? Yeah, the Blob. Shut up, go do it.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that I think in the past, there used to be times where they did remakes and it wasn't awful. I mean, Scarface is a remake. Body Snatchers from Philip Kaufman is a remake. So sometimes they would actually do good work. It's just in the Hollywood system we have today, the quality of writers and the people that they bring to quote unquote reimagine these ideas are just not very good. And then at the end, what ends up happening is almost anything they try to remake now is usually nowhere near as good as the original.
Yeah. Well, there's exceptions to every rule. Even I, who's the biggest remake hater, do love Carpenter's The Thing, but it is kind of closer to the original story that it's adapting. But you have to, you can't live life without making exceptions sometimes. But still, 90-some-odd% of the remakes ever made in Hollywood are
I'm with you there. I'm nowhere
near as good as the original.
No faith in this whatsoever.
Oh no.
The moment I read David Goyer, that went out the window.
Yeah.
Maybe
That
the
would
blob will
kill me
become as
too.
big as Godzilla and completely consume the city in big
Yes.
CGI spectacles.
It'll be
Oh
a
no, they
human
say
thing.
he's got to go.
Who?
Godzilla.
Oh, good one.
Go
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
So maybe-
Blue Oyster Cult
Maybe
reference.
Godzilla will.
Oh.
Listen, maybe Godzilla -1 is going to create this strange trend where people take, something as frivolous and as lighthearted fun as Godzilla as a concept, for example, and make these serious human stories like they did with Godzilla and start that. There's a new hybrid coming along, the monster movie with the serious drama, which happened with Godzilla -1 and blew me away that it did. But is that going to start being a thing now? Is that going to be something? We're going to see take a silly old monster concept movie and then make a serious, heartfelt, like a human story out of it. Scares me. I don't know.
Yeah, it could
Would
be
you have
onto
thought that was
something.
ever going to happen to a Godzilla movie? I wouldn't have.
Well, they kind
Yeah.
of tried to do that with the 2014 one. It just didn't quite.
It was still just monsters whacking each other around, though.
Yeah, no, you're not
kind of-
wrong.
I mean, they weren't. I don't think they were
Well-
trying to. They were trying to go for the Academy Award with that
Mistake
one. Either.
number 3 was, well, it could have been almost that good, but mistake number 3 with Godzilla 2014 was that they had other monsters for Godzilla to fight. I agree with you there, because that first movie should have been what Godzilla -1 was, and that is Godzilla by himself as a force of nature, showing you what the fuck he can do. We don't need another monster in the mix for him to fight to make him some sort of good guy. And as you noticed, I said 3 because there's 2 things in that movie that are worse. 2 is that you kill off your main actor and a third of the way into the movie and bait and switch him with his fucking stoic son and his
Yeah.
sister from another fucking planet. And then number 1 would be show the fucking monster.
Yeah, half of that movie was just Fox News.
Cut away
showing
from the
Godzilla.
monster. Like what the wait, no.
Felt like I was
What?
watching Fox News and CNN the whole time watching the movie.
Well, we were about to see a fight.
Yes, it's just let them fight. You go, well, we can't. No one wants to. I don't know. I agree, but they won't do it.
I
Yeah,
swear
that
I don't
movie's
remember.
tough.
I swear I've never seen so many people's heads go like this all at the same time in a movie theater. Because they're like, no. Because you're like, you think like, you're like, no, wait. Because every shot he would do that. Gareth Edwards would have it be like cutting away from something. And it's like, no, get back to that.
He liked to cheat and use shots like of news footage.
Exactly. That's what he was
not
doing.
a-
Which
It's not a found footage movie, but he would do. There
No.
were parts in that movie where you were watching the news, watching Godzilla.
No, and that's what he shot it like. You're exactly right, Cloudy,
Yeah.
which adds an element of realism to certain shots. But show us the beauty of the shots, man. Don't cut away. Don't or zoom away or whatever you want to call
Before
it.
a couple of weeks ago, though, if you'd have used the word realism near a Godzilla movie, I'd have spit on you. Like, no, I don't want to hear that. I have nothing to do with silly monsters and realism. And that's a
Minus
wonderful
one's
movie.
the perfect balance of
Brilliant.
it.
Yeah, it is. But now it's going to get ripped off into oblivion. It's going to be really weird. And maybe
We'll
that's
see. Goddess of Whims here and sends in $10. Thank you so much. That's very generous. Says, hi guys. I just got back from Target and their DVD section is going away. Well, no wonder you got $10. Build your collection while you can. What do you guys think about The Boy and the Heron winning Golden Globe over Spider-Verse? I say good for it. I'm not even that big of a fan of anime or the Studio Ghibli or any of that kind of stuff. I think it's all right. But anything that beats Spider-Verse is okay with me.
ditto. Ditto, Tom. I'm with you, brother. I hate that crap.
I have not seen neither, but hey, good for The Boy and the Heron. Hopefully it's a quality movie.
It deserves the attention more than Spider-Verse does too.
Okay, well that's good. So it sounds like
mean-
Meritocracy was actually at
Fair
play
enough.
for once.
Am
I mean,
I
this
the
is
only-
one of those occasions. Yeah, go ahead, Bryce.
who saw A Boy in the Heron? I saw it, and I didn't know if anybody else went to see it.
I know people who saw it, but I did not.
Just
I
enough
intend
people
to see it, but I saw Godzilla instead.
I
And
saw
I
both.
love anime, but I had to see Godzilla.
I'm not as well versed in all the anime stuff. I've occasionally watched one of those type of movies, but I went to the theater to watch that Boy and the Heron, and it was kind of a trip.
Hmm.
It was very surreal. There were the narrative wasn't as structured as I had anticipated.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I don't know
There
what
you go.
people are used to in these movies, but if you're looking for like a first and second and third act, I couldn't really figure out what they were in this movie.
This is an anime, you said, right?
Yeah.
Like Spirited Away or anything like that? It's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Weird things were happening. I enjoyed it, but it was very weird.
Okay.
Oh, one thing about the Ghibli movies when they come over here is they've actually got good English voice acting, which is not usually always the case in anime. In fact, it'd be absolutely horrible a lot of the time. It kind of just requires subtitles. But the Ghibli movies, like this, will probably have good. I haven't seen it yet, but the previous Ghibli movies I've actually watched in English. They get talented English voice actors for it.
This one had Willem Dafoe and Christian Bale in a few voices. So they actually had real actors. Anyhow, continue. I don't know why I even brought it, just because.
No, you're fine. I'm glad because you actually saw it and I haven't, and you can actually speak on that as far as the Target and the DVD stuff. Yeah, Best Buy, they're done as of next month. They're supposed to be moving out that section if they haven't already in your local one.
There's nothing at Target.
I've heard Target's been getting less and less for years too. Walmart, depending on your area, I've heard there may be your section may be growing.
A few things.
Depending, because they're going to be taking over a lot of what Best Buy lost, and we'll see how that rolls.
Target, I was at a Target today, and it's nothing. I mean, it's other than some new stuff.
Yeah. Well, even Barnes and Noble has a pretty big section now too.
Yeah. Well, their prices are so crappy. They're gonna have to.
Their prices are shit. Yes.
They'll give like a 30% off sale, but it's all 30% off full retail.
Yeah, the full double retail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald J. Skywalker sends in $2 and says June 7th is a Friday and the 40th anniversary of Ghostbusters. That is true.
Yes,
that is true. Perfect. That's when they should drop it. You're 100% right, Donald.
Perfect day for it. I don't understand. They're not
the
thinking
40th anniversary. Exactly. They should be celebrating
else coming that day or something, but no.
Not from my recollection from looking. I mean, it's not. Unless, because I think some of those movies aren't even coming out yet. I'm not even sure what's going to be out at that time period. So, Bryant Barth sent a member chat for being here for 5 months. Thank you. It says, "Hail panel, question for 2024. How do you think Kevin Costner's Horizon two-part film and Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis would do?" Well, time will tell on the Horizon thing. Especially doing the way they're doing it. I think they're taking a hell of a gamble. Megalopolis, until I see a trailer, I'm not going to be able to really comment on how well that's going to do, and I have no idea how wide of a release that one's going to be. But Kevin Costner's Horizon has a chance. What do you guys think? 6?
I'm not familiar with either one of them, but I mean they've got some big names attached. So
yeah.
I'm kind of fascinated. This movie, this is coming out in theaters, and part 2 is coming out like several weeks later than the first part. I mean, I can't remember the last time that ever was tried.
In fact, I think it's in 4 whole parts altogether, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Weird.
It'd just be interesting to see how it actually performs at the box office, released in that way.
It better be good. It's what cost us Yellowstone, motherfucker. The motherfucker being Kevin Costner.
I figured you were talking about the Costner.
The cause gonna cause.
Yeah, as per usual. You would think even after his Yellowstone comeback, he'd have at least a sense of humanity, but no, he's still the same old Costner.
Right.
Jeez.
Anybody else?
I think that the first movie, out of curiosity, some people will go watch it. I don't know if it'll be as big as Kevin Costner wants it to be, but the question is if that first movie really wows everybody, because if not, they're left holding the bag with all those other parts of it. I sincerely hope for Kevin Costner that this really is something special, because it'll be really embarrassing if they release part 1 and then nobody cares about the rest of them.
Yeah, I think the upside they'll have is that part 1 will hit HBO Max about the time the second movie will be getting ready to come out, and they better hope that it brings people in the theater. Because as far as Megalopolis, that's an interesting one. And again, I don't know if that's going to get a wide release or not. I have no idea who's distributing it. I know Coppola is financing it himself and pissing off his kids and grandkids.
Really?
Yeah. This is it's a movie that he's wanted to make for years, and nobody would give him the money to make it. So he's like, fuck it. I'm almost dead, so I'm going to put all my money.
Wow.
He's doing the one thing they always tell you never to do in Hollywood, but he waited till the right time to do it. So if it flops, who gives a fuck? He's done. He knows he even said that one of his things. He's like, I know I'm getting near the end of my life, so I wanted to make sure all my movies were this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, yeah, that's why he's doing this now, because he knows this is it. So this is his denouement. This is his swan song. This is his curtain call. This is going to be whatever it is. So it's either going to be an Eyes Wide Shut or Heaven's Gate or who knows what the fuck it's going to be at the end of the day. It could be one of those things, or it could be any number of other things. It could be one of the most embarrassing things ever put on film. I have no idea. I know very little about it, other than it's just one of his pet projects that he's been trying to do for years.
Is he already filming it? Is it really happening?
Yeah. He's even got a cast and everything. Yeah.
It's based on a script that he wrote in his best days, though, right?
Yeah. So
sometimes it's like, okay, so it's like I think of that in music terms. It's like, okay, so it's like my favorite musical artist during their absolute peak, and they have this unreleased album. Now he has to shoot it, obviously.
It's one of those things that makes you go, okay, so what's wrong with it that nobody wanted to do it before either? See, that's the thing that gives you pause, right?
That's fair.
I'll go.
I'm interested in it. Yeah,
me too. Curious. I don't know how big of a release it's going to get. I have no idea. I've not heard much about it other than it's going forward. It has a cast. And that's it.
What's the budget for it?
Well, that's just it. It's got to be more than just because it's too damned expensive, Bryant. Because they just give you that usually as an excuse when they don't have faith in it. They'll spend all the money in the world on something they have faith in. Yeah. I mean, look at what they spend now on most movies.
Look at One from the Heart. Well, the crazy money he spent on that one.
Yeah. Francis, that's the thing with him. I mean, I'm not going to say everything he touches is gold either. So he's made some stinkers. But we'll have to see how that rolls, kids. But with that, I don't think we had any major toppings left. Can't believe we got through them all. That's what I said. The Tom Cruise thing is actually kind of like the top of the most of the news.
I find how almost. Yeah. Besides, I guess but the first 15 minutes, I must have missed the Lucas.
Yeah, the Star Wars news is there, but that's even kind of crawling down the news cycle here.
Dude, it already is because almost no one cares.
Has faith in it.
Right.
No. Yeah.
They're going to dump that Echo series today, right?
Yeah, that's
in an hour. Less than an hour, but who needs it? And that show's gonna be dead on arrival.
I dread watching that.
I look forward to all the reaction videos for the next week. After that, it's gonna be dust in the wind. Straight up after that. After
I'll probably watch it just to see Daredevil for 5 minutes.
Yeah, see, I'm always like, I'm kind of like, why would I watch it just to see Daredevil get showed up by Echo?
Yeah, I'm not so sure I'll even bother, to be honest. I've seen some bad things about it.
I could survive Elektra, but not Echo. Not
she was bad.
All.
She was bad enough in Hawkeye. That was terrible. And D'Onofrio's
going to be awful.
D'Onofrio's cool to watch, but I don't know if he's going to be even any good in this thing.
He's in the show, but I don't expect him to be any better with the material that he has.
D'Onofrio and Cox are in the check collecting phase of their career.
I saw them. They were at a con I was at this past weekend, doing that very thing, cashing it on that fame.
I don't blame him.
I saw them from a distance. I didn't go up to meet them. It
makes sense. With that, the career, they're definitely going to be remembered as the Daredevil and the Kingpin. So I get why they are doing it. So it's just a shame though that this is what it's come down to for Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up then, I guess. Clobby, what you got going on?
Oh, well, the usual stuff.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, look at him. Who's that? Oh, the YouTuber. One
I
of the greatest
literally just said, let's wrap up, and look who shows up.
Bro,
YouTubers do that.
sorry I'm late. I meant to be here on time an hour
Wrap
ago.
up and start the second
That's
hour.
what you get when you get a YouTuber who shows up.
How could you guys have possibly hit this topic? I saw the thumbnail.
Because no one gives a shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it went
I
pretty
still
quick.
care about
Even
Star
Andre
Wars.
was here for it
Wow. Well,
because we actually started on time for once.
this show started on time.
Look at the if you're not signed.
Oh my
in,
god,
look
an
at-
hour and 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Holy shit! It started at 7:05. Oh, that's got 6 this year. That's why it started on time.
I literally just asked Clobby I was about to wrap up.
Oh.
Well, we're
Oh,
good.
well,
Unless you got something you can talk about. You're here now.
no.
Liar.
What?
You're a YouTuber. There's things going on. Money things.
I missed the whole show. I'm setting our people back, and I don't want to set our people back. I don't know nothing. Hi, chat. Hi, Six.
Hi, Mikey.
Hi.
Mike.
Hi, Clobby.
Here's-
Hey,
Hey, buddy.
Reason.
What's up, man?
Hey, Nick. Hey, Cece. Hi, Tom.
Good to
Hello.
see you.
Hello.
We had a
How are
power
you doing?
outage here on the island. It was quite distressing. We were out without power for 3.5 hours.
Oh, yikes.
And it was really tough being without power because, I mean, today I think it was like 68 degrees. So, you're kind of wondering, how do you face the weather when it's 68 degrees outside, and then you don't have the air or the heater, because the power's out. It's like, how do you survive?
Are you saying that's like cold or something?
Yeah, 68 degrees. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to need to actually use a blankie tonight in bed instead of like just a sheet.
Ridiculous southern hot climate folk. Up here in Canada, that's almost too warm to be tolerable.
Yeah, 68 degrees. We were like, oh my God, what's Bambino going to do? How will he keep warm tonight?
It's going down to minus 27 here in a couple days.
I feel like I have first world problems. I know one thing I can do. I can announce the new alliance between Duck Vader and Mexican Iron Man.
I'm with
Hey,
Lance.
Huckman.
How did you stream in that 3 hours, man?
I didn't stream. I was in the living. Oh, hey, where is that thing, by the way? Where do you keep finding that? And why haven't I? Where can I delete that? Where is that back here? Where is that? And how do I delete it? Oh, I don't have
Yeah.
access to delete it. Dang it.
Ha ha.
Shoot.
Bang.
Shoot.
So what's going on in Mikey's life?
I'm still burned out from that Sunday George stream.
Were you still?
Yeah, that's why I think I showed up here because I was telling myself earlier today I will never live stream ever again anywhere. And I'm like, no, if I go to MEAD, I'll get it'll be like my little family, and then I'll get rejuvenated and I won't want to leave YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my hugging space.
Juvenation.
Yeah, let's start with 6. I'll take a hug from 6.
Aw.
I actually, this is my second time seeing you today because earlier, I think you were on Loki's Mornings of Mischief.
Were you on Loki's this morning?
Yep, 9 a.m. every
So you
Tuesday.
just lied to me. You said you weren't going to stream again, and then you changed your mind.
Oh.
After that, that's when it kicked in. I realized I was in a hangover from Sunday, and I'm like, after I did Loki stream, I was just like, oh God.
I feel like I snitched on you accidentally, and I didn't mean
No.
to.
No. I'm
Tom
glad
knows
you
I
told
do
me this.
every Tuesday with Loki. Tom knows I do every Tuesday with Loki.
He's just coming in trying to boost my ego. I appreciate it.
How am I boosting your ego?
I know you do.
How?
You
What
always
I
say
do?
nice things like that. You just
Okay.
say nice things.
Well, I could say mean things. Like I saw you eating on a stream the other day, and I didn't approve of it. And someone
I don't even
sent
remember
me
what
a
it
clip
was.
that said that you went to McDonald's last week.
He probably went to McDonald's today.
No.
No, because
No.
no, he wouldn't do that.
Did you go to a different fast food establishment other than McDonald's?
No.
Well,
That's
see,
because he's got 8 inches of snow in his driveway.
Yes.
Okay.
But I also love food. I'm trying to think when the last time I had McDonald's is when I told both of you, I'm not eating McDonald's again because it made me feel sick as hell.
Yay!
It was like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, go to Whataburger instead.
Yay!
We don't have one of those around here.
No, those are cool. Oh,
I live in the ass end of nowhere. I'm surprised we got half the shit we got. And half the reason I quit eating most of them because they're nasty. Goddess of Whim 2003 is here and says with $5, Mikey, thoughts on Boy and the Heron beating Spider-Verse for Golden Globe?
Well, I didn't see Boy and the Heron. I didn't actually see it. And we know what I think of the Spider-Verse stuff.
yeah.
I
Right?
saw both.
What do you think?
I think that I liked, as far as uniqueness goes, I liked the whatever the Boy and the Heron was doing, the animation, the visuals, the ideas. They really appealed to me. They were different. They felt like something more imaginative and creative. With that being said, I didn't hate what they did with the Spider-Verse, but if I had to say which movie I liked better, I think that the Boy and the Heron was more unique, which I like. I don't know.
Who's excited to watch Echo?
Nobody.
I'm sure somebody is somewhere.
I like
somewhere
Turtles.
out there. See, that kid wants to watch Turtles, not Echo. But somebody wants to watch Echo, I'm sure.
I sat down to watch it today, and then I realized Disney Plus kicked me out.
What?
Because I hadn't watched anything on Disney Plus in so long, and then I found out that it hasn't even dropped yet.
Oh, well, you know they'll kick you out. Did you see the price increase that they had?
No.
No.
You have to address. You also have to adjust your account for the adult stuff.
Oh, I don't watch
If you
adult
haven't- if
stuff.
you
What's
haven't.
the adult stuff?
That's what I thought. I mean, I don't know if it's sure, but I think they had something where, there's In fact, I know, for example, like how they took over the Netflix Daredevil and all that stuff.
Oh,
You have to have make for adults. In other words, you have to do something to your account to say that you're old enough to watch this or whatever kind of horse hockey. I think that's probably true.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember how to
Echo.
do that, but yeah. Like
You have to have your
turn it.
logons, which I don't have on mine because I use.
You might have to log in your computer to do it.
why is
You're
your
echoing.
voice all weird, Tom?
Echo.
I got it. Good one.
Oh,
Because I was gonna go echo, echo, echo.
Oh, I get it. You did a funny.
Not really. I don't know why they call her Echo anyway. Her name should be Mute.
Someone said the total runtime of that series is 2 hours and 20 minutes. Is that
Which
with or
movie?
without credits?
5 episodes.
'Cause
Right?
Either way, it's a movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
So they,
but if you
5
take the credits
episodes,
out of
only
it, it's
that
probably
many?
it's
Man.
probably less than 2 hours.
Yeah. That's why they dropped it all at once again.
And it's Disney trying to be tough and gritty. It's
I mean,
not
I'll
gonna be
start
good.
it. I'll try it. I'm not going to hate it
Yeah,
if I haven't
I'll-
seen it.
No,
All right,
I'll-
me and
I'll
Six are
watch
going to
it.
try to watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
I'm definitely watching it. I have to review it.
Sweet.
Well, I guess
All
I
right,
gotta
everybody
watch it
on the
now.
panel is going to watch it, and we can review it Thursday.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Cool.
We'll do it for
Everybody
you. Tom,
except Tom.
you're the host. You shouldn't have to
And
do anything
me.
you don't want to do.
Well, I might get stuck doing it eventually anyway, but we'll see. Probably not. Mecha J has been here for 6 months. Thank you for that. So SAG-AFTRA has signed a new deal for AI use in video games, and the response is as expected. Any response on this announcement? Well, this is the first I've heard of it. I don't know what their response to it is or who you mean, but no, it's the first I've heard. So I'm not sure what the AI the deal entails. I'd have to look it up here quick, Mecha J, and see if I can find it.
I just pulled it up on
Seven
Google.
comments.
Okay, yeah, I got Variety. SAG-AFTRA signs deal with VoiceOver Studio for use in AI in video games. Okay.
Replicating the voice, replicating people's voice with AI.
Huh.
That's what I'm getting so far.
Signed a deal on Tuesday. Sets terms for the use of artificial intelligence in video games. Union announced the deal with Replica Studios on Tuesday. CES in Las Vegas. Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, the union's executive director, said that the terms include informed consent for the use of AI to create digital voice. Oh, so they got to get consent. Okay. Safe storage at press conference. Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow. I mean, as long as the actors are okay with it, I guess. I mean, I don't. It looks like they still have to get their permission to do it. But what it is, it sounds like it's just in case they need something down the line, they don't have to drag the actor back in just to record a line or something. Mainly is what it looks like here. Says these are the kind of producers or terms producers can agree without disrupting their ability to make content. This is an evolutionary step forward. AI technology is not something we can block. It's not something we can stop. It's not a tactic or strategy that's ever worked for labor in the past. Yeah, I really don't know much else about it other than that. I mean, it's kind of abstract, being that it's with voices and stuff. So, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you could probably already. I mean, in a lot of cases, there's like stuff you could do, probably create background murmur and shit like that with a bunch of voices not saying anything, and there's not much you can do without that. You don't have to hire anybody then. So
Can't you?
I mean,
can't you buy voices or different? I don't know,
Yeah.
body scans, like how you can buy access to art, like
technically, yeah.
copyright free art.
Yeah. As far as I know.
I mean, they could do that.
I mean, I guess that's kind of what they're doing, but from what I'm gathering from this is like, okay, let's say you have somebody doing a voice for a video game and you're in the midst of production and you realize, like I said, you need a line that you didn't get recorded. Then as long as that actor has it signed off, then they'll just make the line with AI instead of dragging that actor back in the studio to record it. That's
I feel like the ultimate intention here will be to hire a different actor to maintain the tone of the original character, and that can translate to movies as well. And want to, it's like you got Morgan Freeman. You want to have, he's a very popular character. You want to continue to have that voice instead of recasting it.
The script doctor actually recently told me something that was interesting. We were doing one of our Quantum Leap reviews, and we ran into this actress called Holly Fields, and he said that basically anytime Cameron Diaz doesn't have time to do ADR, like looping or anything like that, this actress actually steps in, and even if you've watched feature films, she's actually done the voice for her if there's a sentence that she didn't say. So I guess
Tom
now
Cruise's brother does that too, or not Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks's brother does that too for him.
Really?
He actually does the voice of Woody for anything that isn't a movie. Yeah.
Wow. So I guess maybe now AI will replace people like Holly Fields. They'll just have an AI do it.
Well, and Mecha J wants the response to the response, and I don't know what the response is. See,
I feel like I'm stuck in a loop.
Yeah, see, I don't see the response in this
I don't
article.
follow
still.
video game responses.
Yeah, I don't either. So I'm like, I need a quick truncation. Okay, here we go. The localizers are already freaking out over the announcement that Japanese will be using AI to accurately translate manga.
Oh yeah, this. Well, like I've watched hundreds of animes, and I mentioned this in the chat, so I'm going to start out here. And I can't speak Japanese, I can't write it, but after watching hundreds upon hundreds of animes, and others in the chat who have done the same as me, you start picking up on those common phrases, right? So for me, the most frustrating part is when it's translated to English. I know that's a tough translation, but sometimes the actual meaning is changed, right?
Right.
And you start to pick up on that. It's like, I know what that Japanese phrase is, and what you're saying in English has a very different context. And that's when I start to get really frustrated. But I know that it's been a factor lately where they've taken that a step further, and activists are now changing the script, not just to change the general context, but to add agenda. into the English script. And that's a really nasty thing that we don't want to have happen.
For sure.
Well, then people need to get sustainable careers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not for AI anything. So
You don't use AI for anything?
I've only tried. I'm not real good at it. And
But if you're
honestly,
against it, why do you use it?
I just have tried it for a few things, and so far it hasn't rendered anything I really like or I couldn't have done by myself already or just as fast. I just don't have
AI has a long
draw.
it has a long way to go. It's very it seems, and in my experience so far, it really struggles with basic things. Like I've been trying out Dolly 3, which is part of Chat GPT, and it cannot process spatial stuff. Like if something doesn't fit in a 16:9 frame, what it'll do is it'll create a wider frame and then put garbage underneath it to fill like the bottom part of the picture, or it'll completely warp things. It just struggles at any kind.
I don't mind it as a tool
context.
for certain things, but for like just for creation, it doesn't seem to work. Like that's what I think CC's getting at, and that's what I agree with too. Like I can understand using it for separating out the audio tracks like Peter Jackson did and they did for the Beatles song. That makes sense. You're not creating anything. It's just taking what was there and separating it in a way that you can't do it physically, right? But now, like when we go in and like I've tried doing the images for stuff, creating stuff. Nothing I've ever done or nothing I've ever seen done with AI generally looks very good unless somebody has gone way above and beyond. And I'll ask them how they do it, and nobody can tell me how they do it very good. But like Yellow Flash is really good at it somehow. But I mean, just as a whole in the industry, I cannot believe they can get behind this because we already know that these things can't be copyrighted. So they're opening themselves up for a lot of issues, I think, in the future too. And as far as putting people out of work, I mean, I get what you're saying. I agree with you in most cases. Six, like make just find a job where you're needed, and or don't or how did you put it?
Sustainable career.
Sustainable career, yeah.
Which that's easy for me to say because I have a very sustainable career.
Oh, but it's true. And I said the same thing about actors in general, right? Because it's a given fact that only about roughly 5% or so of actors actually have what you would consider making a living off of acting. And those are those upper 1 to, percentages of people that make a lot of money. Then the rest of them down the line are barely lucky to make a living down to still bussing tables while doing extra work and all that kind of shit just to make ends meet. So it's not really a sustainable career for most people in general, and voice work even less so in some cases, because it's just, I'm somebody who's tried to get into voice work for years. It is not that easy to do. And that's the problem, is there's a million people who can do the same thing you're doing. And it's very easy sometimes to just be like, look, if you don't want to do it, then somebody else will do it, or they'll find somebody who's just as good as anybody else. And most of the time you don't remember who does most cartoon voices up until it became celebrities. So because most people don't follow that shit.
There is something I want to add to this, and it's one reason why I love analog over digital, is even in the music aspect. You think, okay, well, in music, you're just going to take the vocals out of the song, right? And it'll still be the original. Well, technically, it's actually not. With the AI, in my best understanding, what it's actually doing is it's creating a brand new audio that replicates the original, and maybe we can't really hear the difference, but because it's digital, right? It's not a physical object, it's a digital representation of an object. You can apply this to film too, right? Like CGI is not a real physical thing on screen. So what the AI is doing is it's not actually pulling the two things apart. It's completely recreating the two separated items to represent what they should sound like when they're separated. So what you end up with is not actually the original recording, even though like technically a digital recording itself is not the original. It's just a representation. But the AI is just further taking that representation and creating a new representation. It's not actually the original audio file that you started with. So bear that in mind with AI. It's not what you come away with is not the thing you started with, even if it looks like it. It's an interpretation.
This is true. But the big difference is between good AI and bad AI is the same as like the difference between good CGI and bad CGI, right? And at this point,
That's also
there's
fair.
very few things that I can point at where I can say that that is such good CGI that it tricks my eye. There's only been a few things that have ever done that. And the audio stuff has come very far, and I have an ear that can pick up on shit when it comes to music and certain things. And you're right. It is technically a representation of what the original sound was isolated. And it's kind of interpreting that sound in a way, but it's gotten to a point now where it's been able to interpret it as a 1-for-1, in my opinion.
How do
Like,
you know? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How do you know if your mind is being tricked or if your ear is being tricked if you don't know that it's AI? I mean, isn't it possible that you've experienced something?
It is.
Pardon me?
It is very possible. Yeah. No, and I think about that sometimes when I hear certain things. Especially I question
Because I
when
know
hear-
you hear things like that. I couldn't even dream of hearing.
But sometimes you got to look for, or like not look, but listen for certain things that are dead giveaways. And sometimes, I mean, those anomalies, we can notice them. And even when I do like,
when I do like this voice here, it doesn't get everything perfect, right? And everything's going to come out perfect on the other end. But this is a real-time AI representation of my voice. It's not my real voice.
see,
Will you tell me that you want to sniff my hair?
I want to sniff your ear.
I want to sniff your hair.
Dibs.
I think it sounds just fucking like him. Exactly like
know.
him.
but there's points where you'll hear it go off kilter a little bit because I'm either talking too fast or can't quite interpret the sound I'm making. Because what it's doing is reinterpreting my voice into that AI, right? It's not only trying to take what I'm saying, but take the inflections and everything else all at once. And it's doing it in real time, so it's very difficult. That's gotten so good that it's able to do that. So going along with that idea, going off of what CC says, as long as you can keep those anomalies out of the programming, I like the new Beatles song to me sounds almost flawless.
Well,
Like that sounds right.
To be fair, that new Beatles song, are you referring to Now and Then?
Yes.
Well, that one actually, John Lennon, he did sing with a piano, and then they just separated the tracks. So
That's what we're talking about. But technically what it is the AI did interpret that, created its own rendition of it, basically, is what CC's saying. But to our ears, it sounds just like the original recording.
I think it's
better, actually.
I think it's a fair representation of what John Lennon did because I'm familiar with the version that he's just singing in his piano, and it certainly sounds like that same vocal track.
Yeah, the AI has gotten to the point where it's almost indistinguishable. It's like a 1-1 accuracy almost at this point. And I've heard
I'll take the other side of this argument too. It's like a screen is still pixels, whether it's 4K, 8K, whatever it is. And the quality of what you're watching is the quality of the artwork. Like in video game terms, Super Mario Brothers 3 came out decades ago, and it holds up. It's still an artistic masterpiece that looks a heck of a lot better than some of those really shoddy early 3D games from the 90s that just did not hold up,
But I guess that's my main point I was getting to is that, yeah, I get what you're saying and I agree with you. And yeah, it is. I understand your suspicions and we should be. As good as it sounds, we still should be. But Chris sends in 5 and says anime manga is rarely done wrong by localization translation, especially when it's been 1-to-1 for almost 20 years now. Both sub and dub can be enjoyed. Yeah, if it's done right. I mean, I've seen quite a few variations and other things that I enjoy that are foreign, so I can relate to this, but I'm not as big into the anime manga thing, but yeah.
Me neither.
I like Battleship Yamamoto.
Yeah, and I like this point
that's
here.
a classic.
Mecha J says Now that's the potential for use for AI to help, not create. That's what I'm saying. Use it as a tool, not a creator. Right? That's the problem is the studios and other people are now trying to use it. I mean, even in music, we're starting to learn that some of the stuff has been used AI and stuff like that already. It's for quote unquote original new music. Yeah. But anyway.
Have you ever
Yeah, I
heard
do
that?
plan on it. Got us a whim.
Have
Go
you
ahead.
ever heard
that
that
so
thing
long
that
ago,
Frank
Tom.
Sinatra sings "Gangster's Paradise" and stuff like
I
that?
have. Yeah, some of those can be fun. Some of those I can hear right away when you can hear the anomalies like that I can
Yeah.
pick out. But some of them are still a little off. And some of them I'm not always sure if it's necessarily AI or it's somebody doing an impression.
They're
And they're
going to
just
get
saying
better
it's
though
AI.
over time. Those things are going to get better.
I've heard some really good ones, especially some of the Elvis and Michael Jackson ones are surprisingly really good. And the Freddie Mercury ones. And the reason I think those are is because I'm sure CC knows what I'm talking about. Those have had the ones that have had the most isolated tracks released
Right.
already, where you can get your hands on them and pull the vocals out and stuff. So you can actually just have an AI trained with that vocal instead of having all the other mess involved, I'm sure.
Well, one thing that's definitely, in my experience talking with the developers of music-related AI, the original thing was let's just try and train one AI that can do everything. But what they found is, and this will apply to all other AIs, is that AIs tend to specialize. So if you train it, if you train it to be good at one thing, it'll become less good at other things. So the ultimate, goal would be to combine the AI so that you have one that has strength A and one that has strength B. Now you combine them and you have an AI that's good at both. And I think that's kind of where it's going, is to kind of create a super brain of like combining the individual brains that have individual talents, and to create one that's good at everything. Which frightens me a little bit.
Now, this is one of the most
that's
conception weird ones I've ever heard of the AI, so I have to share a few minutes of this, even if we get dinged. So this is young Michael singing "Beat It."
We're gonna get so dinged.
Yeah. Well, it's coming through garbled.
That's little Michael.
I don't think it sounds
Wow.
It sounds a little off with some of the adult inflections, but yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It works.
It's missing the rest of J5, but yeah. you need Tito in the background going, "Beat it." You know? Shut up, Tito.
Jermaine.
Stop laughing.
Hand me a tissue.
You knew what we were talking about.
Yep.
I should have that this week on Blu-ray, Eddie Murphy Raw. Well, I think that's I think that was in Delirious though, but yeah.
That may have been in Delirious.
I
I
think that was
still
in
love
Delirious.
that. I had it on cassette.
Just sing. You don't even have to be good looking. Because Luther Vandross is a big KFC eating motherfucker.
Big KFC. You got what I need.
Teddy Pendergrass will scare the women into loving him.
You got what I need.
Elvis, yeah, shit. He didn't even have to act. They just put him in the movies. Be like, just sing your lines. You got to win the race, Elvis.
Lemonade, that
The
cold
win is a race.
refreshing drink.
You want a lemonade?
Lemonade.
That cold refreshing drink.
He's cool.
Bitch say, stop the car. I want to get out. Get the fuck out.
See, Michael Jackson, he'd be crying and shit, and ladies love it. They just be like, ah! And I've learned that love is not possession.
I cried when he died.
And I've learned that love won't wait. Give me a tissue. Tito, stop making fun of me.
He's so sensitive.
Just so sensitive. Michael here, you want to kick your ass, so. I heard you did some jokes about me. I'm moonwalking down your ass.
When he was making fun of Stevie Wonder, he said, I had brothers roll up and go, hey, you the motherfucker doing Stevie Wonder? That shit ain't funny, motherfucker.
I heard you made the joke. Yeah. What happened at the end of your little skit?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. It's been years since I've seen Rob, but yeah, I love him. Love him. Anyway, let's get the hell out of here. So let's start over again. This time, let's start with Nick, because you got a show coming up here in what, 45 minutes? Not even?
Just about. So I'll have to get ready for that right now. But yeah, thanks for having me here. Good to see the greatest YouTuber on the planet here as well, bringing the crash landing as we. Toxic Tuesday in 45 minutes. First Blood Part 2. We'll be having Adam, Soldier Spirit from Vets Talking, joining us tonight. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be very homoerotically great, and I hope you all come and join us and the other dudes who are part of the panel. Have a great night, all.
Indeed. CC.
On Friday nights, I host karaoke. Usually you can find Tom and Price of Reason there as well. We sing songs for a couple hours and have fun.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully I can make it this week. I wasn't feeling too hot last week, but I hope to be there this week for sure. Mikey, what you got going on?
I'm going to Bluffton tomorrow to do tax returns.
Fun.
That's true. That's what I'm doing tomorrow.
All right. Price, what you got going on?
Wait, I forgot to promote tomorrow. We have Hogue Law tomorrow at 1.
Are you going to be there?
I should be, huh? I should do that. Shit. I'm supposed to.
I did confirm with him tonight, but yeah, so we do have Hogue Law coming on tomorrow to talk a little bit about Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right, let me see what I can do to move things around.
If you can, you can. You can't, you can't. But it'd be nice if you were, because we love you. So hopefully Michael will be on the morning show. Klobby, what you got going? Or Price, sorry, that was your turn.
I have a video that I just did, this investigative report about Doctor Who, the producer, Disney, and the BBC. And actually, it's been getting some pretty good responses. So maybe people will enjoy it if they like Doctor Who. And
interesting.
That's it. That's on my YouTube channel, Price of Reason.
I'm going there now, Price.
That was a really good video.
You saw it? Oh yeah, that's right, Cece. You commented on it. Yeah, it was interesting, right?
Oh, highly recommend it. That was a great video. Watch it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Nice. Klobby, what you got going on?
The usual stuff. I'll be back Wednesday night, Wildcard Wednesday night tomorrow night at 9, and 9 Thursday night, the clubhouse back in session with Raquel and Mark, of course. And then on Friday nights, before I go to Nick's channel, I have my buddy J-Man and I. We just started our review of the Frank Miller Daredevil run, all of it. That's going to take us some time. We're doing that. And then this Saturday night, Star Trek. So, and 9 p.m. Central, which oddly enough on Saturday night. One of these days, I'd like to get the greatest YouTuber of them all, Mike, to review Green Lantern, Green Arrow with me, Mike. One of these days, man. And Adams O'Neill.
Okay.
I would love that. We talked about that a while back. So yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite comic book series run of all time.
One day we shall review it. One day, I hope, sir.
We'll have like a non-YouTuber night on your channel.
Indeed.
You're full of shit. Six, what you got going
on? Midnight's Edge in the morning tomorrow. Very much looking forward to this guest. I've been following him for a couple years.
Oh, okay.
He's really cool.
Excellent.
It's gonna be good.
Glad that he's got your seal of approval.
Yeah.
I'll be meeting him for the first time as well. And I'll be there. And hopefully I'll hop into Nick's stream. I don't know where he took off to, but I think he was having issues anyway. So
he had to tinkle.
He had to tinkle?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, I just want to thank everybody for being here. And thank you guys in the chat for listening today. Thank you, Jay, for being here. We appreciate it when you can stop by. Anything to say to the chat before we go? Jay? Jay? It's not. All right. With that, it is time to leave.
he though?
Yeah. All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
Steve Bud
kids.
Martin.
No more Tom knows.